proctored tests and things like that. And I'm going to take some notes, and then Ramon is going to help me with this because this is all new. And I think it's a huge need because and I don't have my camera on. Sorry, guys. It's a huge need because there's really not much out there like this. So I want to make it helpful and useful for you guys, and then also possibly connect you with other people who might be like a good study partner. And then the Facebook group that we have that I created, that's another good place to go. And if you have questions or if you have ideas or want to bounce stuff off anybody else, that's a good platform to do that. So I'll start with myself. Okay, so I'm Jessica Nehring, and I'm the productivity coach here at Keller Williams. And my goal is to build, it's basically the biggest team in the office. We have 44 agents in the team, and partially is my group and partially is Sarah's group. So my group is everybody who is new to real estate or new to Keller Williams, working with them. And then once they have successfully graduated from Launch, which is my program, then we go into the growth program, which is with Sarah Anderson. So, so again, want to make this as helpful as possible to you guys. And I know Ramon has been studying like crazy and has lots of good ideas. So he was like, hey, how about this? And Danny, you said the same thing. Hey, what about a study group? So I'll start with you guys. So Ramon, why don't you introduce yourself? And are you ready?
I am. Sorry. Okay. I just parked my car. So it's like, I was trying to be sure that everything was okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, I'm Ramon. So I am originally from Spain and London in the UK. So I moved 3 years ago here, and my company is closing on the end of the year, so my division. So then I make the decision it would be the right time to move to real estate. So, and I just finished all my prototype exams, so I'm gonna be doing my test on December 11. So if everything's go well, so I hope to get the license a week after because all the courses I am done with them, and I use Kaplan. So, and I think that study with other people always is helpful. So I hope that we keep doing now every week. So yeah. And also I speak Spanish. If someone else wants to do like a Spanish group, I can do it, and French too. So if you want to do it, we can do it. So that will be fun.
There you go. Okay, Danny.
Hi, everyone. I'm not turning my camera on because I have no makeup on and my hair is not done and I'm legit in pajamas.
Oh my God.
And yes, I am that vain. No, I'm just joking. I'm really not. But still, so I'm Danny. I met Jessica on the first day that she became a coach. And signed up like right away. And then I took forever to take all of my courses. I'm at the point now where I'm done with my courses, have taken the test. Both the national and state have passed all those. I just recently filed for my license last Friday. So I know kind of how everything goes and how wonderful the studying thing is online now. So I'm just happy to help as much as I possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to talk, Jason, because I see you're on and you are here at our office, an agent. So you want to introduce yourself? You didn't know I was gonna do that.
Hello. Hey.
Nice background.
Yeah, it's like a house, sell houses or something. Imagine that. So I'm a part of business partner with Jessica, and this is my third year in moving properties. First year I did 8 units. Year number 2 I did 18, and this year I'm on track to do about 44.
Woohoo.
But yeah, there's a method to the madness. Listen to all the good training. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
You bet.
Okay, Yafit, you're next.
Hi guys, Ifit Baradis. I just passed my course 1. Well, I have the state exam December 16. So Ramon, I'm right after you, I think, a couple of days later. If you can make a copy, that'll be great.
I will try.
Okay,
That is
good.
not the kindest thing we do here.
Of course not. Of course not. Absolutely. Ethics. I went through a Real Estate Express, which was okay, but hopefully this study group would help a little bit more to prepare. And that's pretty much it. That's my story.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And Dante, you don't have a microphone. You were in today, and I will speak for you. He's going to be signing up for classes relatively soon. I thought it would be great for him to join us here. So welcome. Okay, let's see, Christian. I haven't gotten to meet you because I was sick that day that you came in. So you got to meet with Melissa.
Yes, that's right. I'm also going to keep my camera up because I'm taking care of my son and there's a bit of a mess here.
That's okay.
But yes, so it's finally nice to put a face to the name. I really appreciate what this group is doing. I took my courses back in 2015, and I actually was licensed in 2015 going into 2016, but then I got married and decided to put that on hold. I had to go after a full-time job, like a secure stream of income, so didn't have the time. But speaking with my wife, we decided this is the time to get back into it. So right now I'm just studying to get my exams passed and all finished.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Cecilia.
How do I video?
There you go. I think, well, it keeps going to mute and unmute. That's okay if you can't figure it out. Half the time I mute myself while I'm trying to talk.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
I didn't know how to do the start video. Hi guys, I'm Cecilia. I am part of the Maria Moreno Farias group. I am currently I finished the course 1. I'm doing the CE shop online education, and I like it so far. It's pretty self-explanatory. I want to take my course soon. Like I want to do course 2 and then go take the test. I never done this before, and I know Maria hasn't, it's been a while since she took her exam, so I look forward to studying and getting a little bit more guidance as far as like the tests and all that, and how to like book the appointment and stuff for the test. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Thanks, Cecilia. Okay, Tara.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Tara. I have completed all of my courses and am just working to study to pass the test because I will be honest, I have already taken it and I failed. So I need some pressures and brushing up and just kind of starting to try to get into it, and we'll see where it goes.
Absolutely. I did not pass the first time either. So not such a great test taker. So when people are, they get worried about it, and I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Look at all of us here are realtors and you'll do it. Right.
There's definitely some trick questions. So I need to get untricked. So
yeah.
Yeah, especially the way they word things is so funny sometimes, because you'll think it means one thing, but it means something totally different. So those kind of things for sure, watch out for, because that tripped me up when I first took the test. Like the way they'll say something, you have to kind of read it a few times, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see what you did here.
Yeah. Right, because there's only so much information and so many ways that they can make it look like incorrect. right?
Mhm.
Most of the time it's a yes or no, right? Like either this is correct or it isn't. But yeah, they try to throw some curveballs in there. So okay, and Devina.
Unmute. Oh, here I am.
There you are.
Hi.
Hello.
So my brother has been trying to talk me into this for a very long time.
Yeah.
You'll do great. And I'm like, yeah. So I work in education. I'm pretty hands-on job and things like that. And I'm like, this is like a desk job. He's like, it's nothing like a desk job. Anyway, I'll be honest, I've started and stopped and started and stopped, and I'm still in course 1, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? No, I can't waste my money. It's a lot. So I probably need some coaching and some, like, I know I can do it. It's just buckling down and blocking out my time. And I'm working from home for I work at a school, and then also I have my kids who are working from home. So it's just a lot right now, but I need to do it. Like, I would have never thought that I wouldn't be in a building working with children right now. So
Right.
yeah, something has to change.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And my brother is very great at what he's doing. And so then there's also that, like, I have to do good. My
Yeah.
brother's great.
Your Wayne is a powerhouse. So
Yes.
so well, I mean, it's in your blood, right? I mean, it has to be.
Yes. I mean, I have other businesses and things I do as well. So that's another thing. That's another factor. So
Yeah.
anyway, enough about me. But
For sure.
yeah, that's where I'm at. So if anyone wants to help, I am here for it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining. And I think this will be a really good kind of mindset thing too for people, because that's the biggest thing is you're learning by yourself. You're learning at home, you know, like you're taking a proctored test. You're completely by yourself all the time. When I went to school, I was with Minnesota Realty School, and I went into the classroom, and we had 25 people in class, and you'd talk to people and you'd interact. And so that it's a totally different ball game, and it's so much like what kids are going through right now, right? And if that's not your learning style, then it's like what like what, right? So absolutely, very happy to have you, and excited to be able to help. Okay, and Corinne.
Hi.
There you are. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So we just have been going kind of around I call it a room, whatever, around the screen, and introducing ourselves and kind of where you're at as far as the schooling and how soon you might be testing, and then kind of what, you know, like if you've had struggles, what they might be, or what, if there's something specific that you have questions on or are looking for. So that was a lot, but.
I'm right around unit 8. And then I think the national part, which is 3 chapters, and then that's pretty much it. There's so many words to consume. It's just overwhelming.
Right. Yeah. So, well, Ramon, do you want to take over?
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, the idea is that all of us, I mean, I wasn't prepared to take over, but yeah, the idea is that all of us, I mean, it's the first time, so I choose like 2 topics. One is type of ownership, and the other one is going to be all like about property conditions and environment. So, and it's to see what we can be discussing and talking, you know, and then we can do a test. We can do as a trivial 10 questions, and then that can help us to practice, you know, because when I did my proctor one, I noticed that the questions are super trick. So, and I was like, okay, they don't mean that. They mean the opposite, you know. So, and then maybe we can start to think about it, how to do a test and make make it sense common, like a common sense, sorry. You know, we can go, okay, they say that, but choose, you have these 4 options. Okay, that one, no, for sure, because doesn't make sense. You know, we can make like a little bit of discussion on that. But as I say, probably people who already take the exam, they're even better prepared than myself. So the idea is that we can share, and all of us, we can be part of that. So, I speak super fast and I have like a thick accent. Please stop me at any time, you know, so I will slow down if I can. So do you have the document that they sent to you, Jessica, that we can share on the screen?
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
do you want, well, hang on. While I'm trying to find it, why don't you tell them what you told me about that's super helpful in order to take the test? You were talking about like doing practice.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was discussing with people that have done the test, and also I have a family member who is a relator as well, and they told me that the key is to test, 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 because at the end you memorize the announcements, more or less they're like the same. They change maybe like the comma, the word, but if you do as many tests as you can, that would be like the best practice to do. Apart from a study, obviously, so we have to know the content. But if you do the test, that's going to be super, super easily for you when you are going to do the exam. It's like when you do your driving test. So, I mean, I live in different countries. I have to do the driving test for the UK. I have to do the driving test for Spain, and then for here too. And to be honest, the one for America, I didn't study. I was doing test, and then I went and I passed it, which incredible. I don't know how I passed it, but I did. I didn't have any accidents, so on my defense. So I think that I did. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, thank you, Jessica, for let us having that group. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
I had a question for Ramon. So Ramon, are you testing like online? Is there like an online platform where you can just go to like a realtor, kind of like a sample test of the real exam? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I use Kaplan, and we have like a lot of tests. Yeah, and after every single lesson, you do like a multi test for 40 questions. Plus, I have all the books I have a book that I bought in Amazon for $12, and it's like a 55 tests. So, and all of them, they are around 80 questions. And I use those ones all the time.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm using the CE Shop online program, and they also do like a test every like end of every unit and like subchapter. So I was just wondering if that was what you're referring, or similar.
Yeah, more or less that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If I can jump in. So I did CE Shop too. This is Danny, by the way. Cecilia. So did you purchase like the package deal, like where you get like all 3 of the courses and all that stuff by any chance?
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Perfect. So when you get to the point where you're ready to take your test, in that package deal, it says like state and national exam practice tests. What I did before I took my test is I took all of those until I had passed them each, like with at least like an 85%, like 3 times. And that was really helpful. I like just studied those 2 things like for 3 days straight. That was like, it was super helpful. And I felt like I was way better prepared even through all the coursework just from taking those tests alone. So definitely look into those. And you can even jump into those at any time in your course, which is cool. So like if you just kind of want to see like where you're at, you can always jump in there and kind of play around. But the CE Shop really, I felt like it really prepared me for the exams. The way that things are worded in the CE Shop is very much like how they're worded on the actual exams as well. So you're in good hands, I promise.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Yeah, exactly. That's...
Thank you. I've been so tunnel vision like on the courses, and I haven't like seen that. I kind of like glimpsed at it, but I'm glad you told me that. Thank you. I will for sure look into that.
Yeah, anytime. And obviously, as we're doing this, if you have a question or anything, you can always feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help with anything that I can. I know that it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading.
Yes.
Question. For the e-shop, so I did classes through MN Realty School. for the CE exam prep, if you were to purchase those, I see it's like $78. Is that like you can take it nonstop, like numerous times, or because I know like the one with Pearson VUE, you can only take it once for like the $20 or something like that, and they only allow you to take it once, and you can't continue to retake it. So I guess if I were to purchase the $78 one, would I be able to continue to take it, or is it just a one-time thing? Like, does anybody know?
So your test is done through a proctor through a different site. Normally it's through Exams Local, or you can do it in person if you can find a proctor in person, but I would just do it through the Exams Local thing. You have to pay for that exam through Exams Local to take the actual course exams, but like practice test wise, you can take those as many times as you want
For
within the CE shop.
You have on their account? Okay.
Yeah. If you have an account with them, they're not gonna like be like, oh, you took it once, you passed, done. You could take it. I think I took like the Minnesota State exam like literally 50 times before I felt confident enough with it. So yeah, like they're not gonna kick you out. You can be in those courses longer than 30 minutes. Or 30 hours. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna kick you out like once your time is up.
The exam prep I'm seeing, because since I already
Right.
took the classes. Okay. So
Right. You can take those as much as you want.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a fee when you take those tests every time, right?
Yeah.
Subscription, right? Isn't-
Yeah.
If
Through
it-
the Exams Local, it's like $25.
That's on the national and the state, or
No, that's for your course exams.
So once you finish your coursework, then you have to do a proctored exam, which is like the proof that you did the coursework.
Right.
So then you have to pass that test, and that's through that one that Danny just mentioned. Once you do that, then you need to take the state or national test, which is through Pearson VUE. And then that is the one that you need to go into a testing facility, and you bring the paperwork that you've passed that one, and then you take that, and that's like, I don't know. I felt like I was, I felt like I was in prison. They're like, okay, come over, put everything down, and I'm like, oh my god, what? But yeah, that's the super strict one.
the super strict one was the course one, so it's not like the course 2 and 3, which you just have to have proctored. It has to be like paid. Course 1.
No, what happened? I don't know which school are you using. So are you using
Kaplan.
Okay, with the Kaplan's, that's the one that I am doing. So when you finish the unit 1 of the national, and then the whole national package, and then you will have to do the national packet as well, which is the first book. So you will have to do the proctor exam. To do the proctor exam, you can use a person who is either a friend or a work colleague, or maybe someone else that is working at Starbucks, and say, I'm gonna be doing this exam for 45 minutes. They need to be watching that you are not using any paper, you are not asking other people. So basically they need to pay attention that you are doing everything in the ethical way. And then when you finish that exam, if you pass, then you can book your exam with persons to do for the license.
Okay, so it's not the same as the other schools.
No, it's different.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
It's
exactly.
different.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one that I did. So, and now I am finishing the course number 2 and number 3. And as well, you can go to the exam before you finish those courses. They are not related.
Right, I didn't know that. I thought you had to finish all of it. That's why I'm so behind.
No, and you have 6 months to do it with Kaplan. So otherwise, after 6 months expire, and you will have to renew again. So yeah.
Have you taken your test yet?
No, I'm going December 11th. So, and from this week, I will start. I'm having every test in the morning when I have a breakfast, every test in the lunchtime, and 2 tests every night. So basically, it's practice, practice, practice. So I don't know if I will pass, but I will try it to do my best.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the best person doing tests, so yeah.
I know Yafit and you, Ramon, both signed up to take the Pearson VUE test. And when you picked the date, was that what the date that you got? Is that how far out it was, or is that just the date you picked?
Well, in my case, it's the day that I peak, but was also 50% of the data they give me, because the location that I tried to choose here in Shakopee was full. So I didn't have anything. So then I choose the 11 in the Bloomington area. So yeah, but there is like a 5 weeks ahead of time, at least for what I check. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was the closest one. December 16 was the closest one. So
Yeah, so that is interesting. So when COVID first happened, it pushed it out months. And so people were like, okay, I want to test. And it was like May, and they said, okay, September, right? So I don't, there's talk of, things changing. The governor's going to do some stuff tomorrow. So what I would say is, if you know that you can be done with course 1 by a certain time frame, I would challenge you to sign up for the test, and then you have your time block of, this is when I need to study, and here's my end time, right? Like, it's not negotiable. I'm getting this done, right? You can't put it off. And then because of COVID, we're not being pushed out to where you finish the course and then you call and you're like, what? I can't get in for 2 months? Like, that's not a good spot to be in. So, if you can kind of time block it out, see what your schedule looks like, and then schedule the test. Because if you guys are saying it's, out till the 16th, I mean, that's like a month, 5 weeks. So just my little 2 cents there.
Do you guys think the testing centers are gonna close down? Cause I feel like we're gonna have a lockdown soon. And
they might. The thing is if you're booked and you have your time in there, they will you'll still have your time saved there. They'll just push it out. And so you'll still be one of the first ones that gets to test once they open back up.
And there is also the possibility, I know the person view has the possibility to do that. You can do a proctor exam with them from home. So basically you have to be connected, because that's how I do my university. I am doing a master with the University in London, and that's how I am doing my exams. So you connect your camera, you have to show that you don't have any paper in your desk, and you have a person looking at you all the time through the webcam.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that person view can do that too. If another lockdown comes, that I believe 85% is gonna happen for sure.
Yeah, I think they're really kind of trying to make it so that we don't get a bottleneck like we did last time.
Yeah.
Because that was tough. I mean, Sarah Rostance, she was going to take her test in March, and she ended up taking it in June. And so it's, and then it's like, okay, now I'm here, I was going to start real estate, and now I'm like, you know what I mean? So I think if you guys can be kind of proactive and get scheduled for the test, that'd be my best advice.
So I have a quick question about that. I remember when I took my exams, they were recommending to finish course 1 and then take the exam. But then I heard that now it's best to take course 1 and 2 and then the exam. Or is it still the same? Just take course 1 and then the exam.
So I know what Danny's going to say, so I'll say my thing first. So I talked to our transaction coordinator, Autumn. She took the test in February, and what she said was that a lot of times they have test questions, which means they're testing to see how it's taken. The thing is with that is, when you watch the timer, you'll see on these test questions, the testing ones, that the timer stops. And so you're not being tested on that. So those ones, and you won't know what's on it because they're throwing out new information and trying to see how it's gauged. And so that is something that you have no control over. And Autumn said she caught it one time because she was like, gosh, I don't know the answer to this, right? She looks down and the clock's not moving. And she's like, oh, and I was like, oh, I would become super obsessed. And that's all I'd look at is the clock. And I'd be like, oh, no, okay. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. But that was kind of what we brought up in a leadership meeting when I challenged them on what Danny's about to tell you. So go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, so when I took especially the Minnesota portion, not necessarily the national portion, but the Minnesota portion, I would recommend taking the second course if you can. the Minnesota test is it's quite a bit harder than the national test is, just because it's more specific. And the things that I learned, especially at least with the CE shop, the things that I learned once I got into course 2, I was like, oh, well, I just found that out on my exam when I took it. So it was really helpful to take the second course. I also feel like too, that as you're working through the second course, you're kind of getting those like extra little tidbits of information that you don't necessarily get in the first course. That just makes things easier to understand, and then the questions that you get, you can kind of deduce an answer from, as opposed to like going in there blind. Does that make sense?
It does, because I am doing now, I just finished the second course and I start the third, and I tried to do again the Minnesota test the other day, and I can tell you that I feel much confident right now. So because, as I say, there's more, because it makes sense. And at the end also it's like a study time, because you will do one thing that you did again in the first course, so you will do it again in the second course, and then you will do it again a little bit in the third course. So it's like memory, was like a memory technique for me. So that was good. So yeah. So should we begin?
Sure. And
To have fun.
have any other questions? And can you see my screen?
I can see your screen for
sure. I did a fire boot camp once. While I was like recording it, and then I watched it afterwards, and I never recorded the screen.
I know that. So.
And you probably watched it.
So Danny, so I asked because you are new real estate agent, so do you want to start? Because probably if you read it, it's going to be much better if I do. So would you like to start reading, and maybe people can have questions, and then we can try between all of us to help each other?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good. Okay. So it looks like we're doing types of ownership for starters. Which just personally, that was one of the hardest things for me to separate when I first started learning it. So definitely a good place to start. So the first one we'll talk about is sole ownership, and then also so estate and servality. I can never say that word right. Just
imagine me.
Severalty.
Yeah.
You use it so much, clearly.
Sever the estate. There we go. So pretty much the definition of that is it occurs when a property is owned by just one individual, or a corporation or other entity. In our case, I feel like in the case of the exam, it's mostly going to talk about an individual or a business, and that's pretty much it. Does anyone have questions on sole ownership at all? No, nobody? Okay, we'll move on then. So B, we'll talk about concurrent ownership or multiple ownership. So when more than one person owns a piece of property, these are the types of ownership that can happen. The first one, tenants in common, it's pretty much a parcel of real estate owned by two or more people as tenants in common. So each tenant holds an undivided interest in the property. And then the co-owners have unity of possession.
I always get confused this one
So
between
is this
the
like,
joint
sorry.
tenants. Oh, sorry.
Is that like
Right.
a duplex? Maybe like if each person owns a side?
It would be more like, say, Bob and Sharon are best friends and they decide to buy a house together, but they're not married, or they could be married, but let's say they're not married in this case. So they own the house together and they hold their own interest in the house separate from the other person. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to explain and like.
Yeah, that could be like, let's say, as I say, how I learned this one is like a cake. you know, you have the whole cake. Yes, I like cakes. So you have a whole cake, you know, and then you can say, okay, so 3 people buy. So each of them have a piece of the cake, you know. And always I get confused this one with the joint tenant, you know,
Right.
because it's likely similar, but they could be different, you know. And seriously, that took me a long time to understand which is the difference between all of them. So yeah.
And then, so going in with that, so, and then with joint tenants, pretty much the property is owned by 2 or more people, whether they're married or not. But with joint tenancy, you get the right survivorship. So Bob and Sharon own the house together. They have 50% of their interest, right? And then Bob unfortunately dies. Sharon has the right of survivorship and can take over that other 50%, as opposed to tenants in common, where say Bob could then pass that on to an heir, or have that interest sold, or the state could collect it for Bob's bills. Joint or tenancy in common gets a little bit more tricky, because, for instance, say there's like 3 people that have a tenancy in the house, and one of them wants it appraised. They're only going to get an appraisal for the percentage that they own of the property. So just keep in mind that joint tenants typically married, not always, but typically married, and typically that other person, if something happens to them, would get the ownership of the other property. If they're tenants in common, that property is passed along to an heir or another situation.
Okay, any questions on anything there? Okay, there you go.
And Danny, before you move forward, so sorry, because I created a document and that's move forward. So that table that you can see over there define the 3 of them. So you can see
Perfect.
that can help you to describe all of them.
Yeah, and I'll have all of this, I'll put all of this that Ramon created, I'll put it in that Facebook group so you can download it and have all of this.
That was my next question. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one. You want me to go forward of all of this?
I think you're good right now with the tenants by entirety.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So tenants by entirety, pretty much spouses have equal undivided interest in the property, which means that they have the right of survivorship, and that conveys deeds signed by both parties, and one party can't convey 1/2 of the interest. So that means that if the 2 of them decided, if one of them decides I don't want to live here anymore and the other one still wants to live there, one of them can't say I'm going to sell my half of the property, or I'm going to give my other half of the property to Joe. That's not available in tenants by the entirety.
Jessica, can I say something?
Yes.
So for the state, I know that Minnesota only recognized the first ones, not the 2 last ones that we're talking about right now. I don't know if that matters or not. Okay, so I don't know if we go through the whole thing for the national.
Yeah, that one, because I created a document. It's more or less like the national one. So because I didn't know how many people will join today. I didn't know the level. So let's start for the national part. But yes, good point. Thank you for that, because yeah, that's great.
So which one did you say?
So the tenants by the entirely and the community property are not going to be on the state because Minnesota doesn't recognize that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great. Everyone's sharing things. I love it.
Yeah, so community property, pretty much spouses are equal partners in marriage. Real or personal property acquired during marriage is community property. And then the conveyance requires signature of both spouses. There's no right to survivorship. When one spouse dies, the survivor owns one half of the community property, and then the other half is distributed according to the will, or if not a will, according to the state law. So pretty much if you have two spouses, they own a property together, a community property, one spouse passes away, then the other spouse can't say, okay, well, this whole house is mine now. The other spouse would have had to will that to them in their trust, or otherwise they can will it to, their best friend or their children or whatever the case is. But that other spouse only maintains half of the property, as opposed to being able to obtain both unless it's willed to them.
I have a question. Is that national then, or is that in Minnesota law too?
The last one?
Yes,
So-
the last one.
Yeah, the last one is national one. So yeah, as we explained, like in the Minnesota one, it will be tenancy in common and joint tenancy. So that will be recognized by the Minnesota state.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes it's hard, like, to distinguish from like the state and the national.
I know. I know everything could be the same. Yeah, so it will be much easier.
And honestly, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that overlaps, which is kind of nice, because you're not having to study like two very, very different things. But there's a lot of things that are overlapping on the national and state portions of the exams. So there's definitely going to be some things that you feel really, really confident about because you've heard it so many times. And then other times you're going to be like, what? I don't remember. just, like, if you are going, like I said, if you're going through like your courses and like you have a question, like don't hesitate, like reach out to somebody. Like, honestly, like I haven't even been part of this office for very long, but like I am a question person. I probably send Jessica 3,000 questions all the time. So if anyone wants to put that off on me, or I'm sure anybody in the office, feel free to ask the questions, because that's how you get ahead. Like we're all in this together. So let's, definitely willing to help you out.
Yeah.
Probably the day before my
Thank
exam,
you.
I will do a Zoom coffee with you. So yeah.
I'll do a Zoom before I go take the test.
Okay, so it looks like we're doing types of housing now. Is that what we're?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the common of interest in the ownership property. So like could be like condominium, cooperative, or timeshare. So yeah.
Perfect. So Jessica, can you move the screen up just like to the?
I know. How do I make this like better? I know it's not going to help you if it's smaller, but.
Nope, it's good. I have glasses on right now. I told you. It's real over here.
There you go. Okay.
Next week it will be a PowerPoint. It will be much easier. Sorry about that. So it's like
it's totally so condominiums are single units located in either low-rise or high-rise complex. And it's the same as not the same, but it's kind of set up the same as like townhouses or standalone units. So you own your own interest in a condominium, just like you would a townhouse or a standalone unit. Co-ops are different. They are single units and they're located also in low-rise or high-rise complexes. But typically you own a share in the co-op, like the corporation of the co-op. So A lot of the times with co-ops, it's people have to, so you're voted in by a board. You normally have to try to apply to the board and tell them how you're going to benefit the co-op. And that's how that kind of works. And then timeshares are different as well. So they're multiple purchasers buy interest into real estate. And then usually they're like a resort or kind of a hotel property. And then each purchaser has the right to the unit for just a period of time each year, or for a number of periods of time throughout the year. Does anybody have questions on those 3 items? Because they're very different, but they're so similar too.
So the thing that's kind of weird once you start doing real estate is you'll see a condominium and you'll look at it and you'll be like, well, yeah, somebody's like, yeah, that's a townhouse. And you're like, what? And so it's like people say I live in a townhouse, but they actually technically live in a condominium, right? So, because they can have standalone units, and there's standalone, townhomes where you drive by and it looks like a single family home, but it's not. It's part of an association. And so that will come into play when you look in the MLS and you see that, oh my gosh, it has an HOA. Like, why does it have an HOA? So then you start to go, oh, it must be one of those standalones. So that was super weird for me. And I was like, what the heck? But now this bottom part, ownership. Did you want to go over that?
Yes. Oh, okay. So with, what are we thinking of? What am I talking about first? With condominiums, the owners have a fee title to interior space for, is it fee? I'm sorry, glasses clearly aren't working. Is that say
it's a
fee
title? So yes,
fee title. There we go.
Yeah,
That's what I was like. Yeah. Is there? Sorry, I also have a crack in my phone screen, so it's not helpful.
Sorry about that. I put you on the spot.
Fine. So owners have a fee title to interior space of the units, and then share the title to the common areas. So if there's a gym or a pool, the owners have kind of share that space, and then the actual ownership of their property. So if they were to have their property appraised, it would be within the 4 walls of their unit.
Yeah.
And then with, what was the second one? With co-ops, tenants, like I said, tenants own a share in a corporation or a partnership or trust that holds the title to the building. And then tenants have proprietary leases and the right to occupancy or to occupy their respective units. So they more have a right, and their ownership is in shares that are held by somebody else. And then for timeshares, timeshare estate is a fee simple interest. Timeshare use agreements are personal property, and they expire after a specified amount of time, I'm guessing is what, yes. Yep. So yeah, so expire after a specified amount of time.
You guys know all about timeshares, don't you? Haven't you been hooked into those stupid meetings where you have to sit there, or is it just me? Oh.
I purchased a timeshare when I lived in Texas. It was terrible. I mean, it was wonderful, but it was like it was super waste of money. Yeah. Super waste of money.
I didn't have the pleasure to be in one of those meetings.
Well, here's the thing: is if you're good at sales, you're also good at being sold to. So,
oh yeah.
All I have to say. Okay? My husband is the complete opposite. So he's the one that saved us from blowing money. Okay.
Right. All they had to do, and it was really bad. All they had to do was offer me a $50 gift certificate to a fancy restaurant, and I was like, let's do this. Take my money.
Oh my God. True story.
So if you're trying to transfer ownership with condos, single units are transferred by a deed or will or living trust, just like with housing. or regular houses, so like townhouses or single units. With co-ops, shares are personal property. So the shareholder can sell or transfer their shares, and the transfer of shares, but the transfer of shares can be rejected by the board, and the transfer of shares may be restricted by their bylaws within the co-op.
Mhm.
With timeshares, an interest in a timeshare estate can be conveyed to another person by a deed or willed out by the owner. And then the interest in timeshare use is personal property that may or may not be transferable according to your contract. So if you do sign up on a timeshare, read those contracts very carefully.
Or you need to hire a lawyer to help you to get out.
Right. Right.
You get information.
And then so governance of the different things. So like with condos, you pretty much have a declaration of your condominium and board of directors that's elected by the homeowners. So just like with any like HOA, I think it's kind of like an HOA. So you have a board of directors that you elect, and then they kind of come up with the ideas for the complex as a group. You have meetings, the whole deal. With co-ops, bylaws of the corporation and board of directors are elected by shareholders. So a lot of the times, some of their owners will be like people that are in the building. Otherwise, sometimes it's people that have developed the building. With timeshares, it's always the developer.
Right. Yeah. If you want, I can take that part. So I can do the part so you can have a break. So I can do that.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I missed a T over there. It's property conditions and environment issues. So this part, I choose what I know that normally they're going to be asking for in the test, because I've been asking to other people who did the test. So that's a hazardous substance. So first is the lead-based paint. Disclosure requirements. Normally, if it's a home is built before January 1st, 1978, remember that day because that's what we're going to be asking. So they need to disclosure, and they have 10 days opportunity to have the home inspected or tested, basically. So then a seller is not required to do a lead inspection or removal, only have to inform the buyer. And the real estate professionals are responsible for making sure all the parties are in compliance. And Danny, that you have done the test recently, I do believe that that question more or less come always. That's what the people told me. Am I right?
Yes, that is definitely on the test. I'm totally like a weird jingle person. Like, so I just remembered for this particular thing, 1978 lead-based paint. That was my deal. It
cool.
Rhymes.
Good.
Yeah. So like,
I literally just sang the same thing in my head. Sorry.
right. Right. That was like, so like if you see something that's like on the test, it'll normally say something like, I don't know, like how a home was built in 1979. Does this person have to test? And so think about things like that. So just 1978, just keep that number in your head. 1978 lead-based paint. It rhymes. Nice and easy for you.
Yep. Yeah. I use this until that's why it's like when I see something that is either 1977 is okay for sure. It's 1979 is not. Move on. So
Right.
that's how I'm doing what I practice. So the other one is the asbestos. So it's a mineral used in building that can cause respiratory disease. It's very harmful only if the fibers are exposed, because they are microfibers and they go inside the lungs, and they can provoke like a cancer or things that like asthma, etc. It is deteriorate state is called friable or friable. Sorry, my pronunciation is horrible. So we can use two techniques to remove. Sorry, someone else say something?
Yep, go ahead, Cecilia.
Okay, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, I was talking to my son because he was on my door.
we thought you were really interested in asbestos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, really? So we can use the abatement removal or the demolish or renovate. That one is the more expensive. So, and people, they don't do that one. So they do the encapsulation, which is sealing in place, and is a better choice than the removal. So, and that also is a question. So in normally the test, so which one, in order to remove asbestos, and they put like a few things, and then the if they put encapsulation, that will be the answer. So that, to be sure that, because I did that on my practice. So then the radon is a natural occurring odorless radioactive gas. Sorry, I've been working since 5 a.m. today. I'm very tired.
Radioactive.
Yeah, and typically mitigate by adding a ventilation system to move the gas outside. So, and yes, I choose the answer of how you mitigate, because mitigate will be the key in one of the tests. Because what do you do for asbestos? You abatement, remove. What do you do for radon is you mitigate. And then for mold, so it's not all the mold is hazardous, because that will be one of the questions. So remediation. So you remove again, but you use another word. So you use the remediation, because that could be part of the test. They will ask you, what do you do to remove the mold? And then is the remediation is the answer. Okay, if they ask you for that. So then there is the groundwater. So one thing that I think that for me is very easy, and that's to say, that's my technique. So everyone can share theirs, and it will be much better for all of us. So is the Safe Drinking Water Act regulates the public drinking water, because that is one of the questions that I found as well when I do my test. So, and then is the SDWA. So underground storage tanks may contain petroleum products as well. That's one of the parts that I found on my questions. And as I say, I use Kaplan. Maybe people use another school. It will be different, the questions, but I believe that all of them, they're more or less the same. So then the water disposal sites and the brownfield legislation and the license holder, that's a key. If you see that, probably that will be the right answer. And then the floodplain and the flood insurance. So that's also one of the funds that maybe Danny can say, but I believe that always they show up, that question always show up. So is the area of the land adjustments to a stream or river that may experience flooding during a period of high discharge. So the National Flood Insurance Reform Act, 1994, that's also like a day to remember, impose mandatory obligations on a loan service to set aside, like a scroll. So funds for a flood insurance for properties in the flood area. So the Clean Air and the Water Act as well. The Clean Air Act is 1985. That's very easy to remember. Is the year that I was born. So you guys, it will be easy to remember for all of us. So pressure should note the presence of the okay, I will not read that. Sorry, I'm
formaldehyde.
There you are. Thank you very much, Jessica. And then the other one is the Environment Protection Agency, the EPA, because they will ask you that name, so easy to remember. So now I choose like 10 questions that it could be like a trivial, so all of us, we can play and answer. If you guys don't have the microphone, you can use the box text, and then we can read it over there. So then if we can move to the first one is, which parties must sign a D to make it valid? A, grantors only. B, grantees only. C, both grantors and grantees. And D, leases only. I think that we can throw away the D straight away. So that's like, no way. So now, which ones do you think that is the right answer?
I want to say A.
A?
Oh, mine was muted. A.
A. Yes,
Yep,
is the
as
A.
well.
Is the 8. So 8 is the right one. So yeah.
Jason, did you know that answer? Okay. I didn't. I mean, I don't talk like this.
What do you
Tell
mean,
you,
Jessica?
I want to say
pass the test and move on. That's all you got.
I want to say sorry, Ramon. To a minute ago, I thought I was muted, and my son was knocking at the door. So I was like, "Hold on."
That's totally fine. So believe me, that happened to me. I work all day with WebEx, something like that. So my dogs, they jump in all the time, and etc. I'm used to that. So yeah, the question number 2: the ownership in severalty refers to A, more than one owner; B, the right of survivorship. I think that we can throw away the one for sure. So C, ownership between spouses; D, ownership by one person or entity.
So D.
D.
Yes, D is the right one. So number 3, I'm having so much fun doing the test. So I want to do that all the time. Yeah, I want to.
Fun. I would fail, you guys. Okay.
No, I want to have like a TV show that I do questions for that, like Jeopardy. I like it that. So 3, which must always be true of tenants in common? A, each tenant must have an equal ownership share. B, each tenant rents his share of the land. C, each tenant has the right of survivorship. D, each tenant must join in a conveyancy of title to the property.
I'm gonna go with A.
I go with C.
A, C.
C.
Someone else? Jason say A. No, the answer is D. Each tenant must join.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the D. And believe me, I did this test 3 times and I make the mistakes, and now I know that is all the D. I read that answer, the announcement is okay, D. So I go to find that one straight away.
Oh, is that if they sell the entire property, not just their share, right?
Yeah, I think that how the question is very tricky.
Yeah.
So a really good way to think about it is, say like 3 people buy a property together and they have different, and like one person buys or purchases or gives 50% of the payment, and then the other 2 give 25% of the payment. That's why number A isn't right, because then that person that put in 50% owns 50% of the property, and then those other 2 people only own 25%. And then obviously if they are tenants in common, they're not renting. So that would knock out B. And then with tenants in common, you don't get the right of survivorship. You have to will it. It's a willed process. So, or their heirs could inherit it. So, or they could sell those portions based on whatever is happening. So if you just remember that joint tenancy, right of survivorship, tenants in common. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Tenants in common, right of survivorship. Joint tenancy is the one that does not have right of survivorship.
Yeah, and normally, and that's a good point, because how I learned to pass that question after a few fails, if they say true, it will be only one. So then, I say which always be true for tenants in commons. That's the D. Each tenant must join in. Because the first time I was thinking the A too, because it's very confusing. So.
Yeah, I would definitely, just a hat tip to everyone, study the differences between joint tenancy and tenants in common a lot, because it will come up on your test more than once.
That's what the people told me.
I remember
that. Question number 4, a form of current ownership in which each tenant owns an undivided ownership share in the entire property and has no right of survivorship is A, joint tenancy; B, tenants in common; C, severalty. I think that we can remove the C and we have 50-50.
B.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with B as well.
Is B. Yeah, it's just Danny was explaining to us. So it's try to know which one has the right to survivorship or no. That would be the key on that to difference them. So then number C, radon, mold, and asbestos may require mitigation, cleanup, or abatement. True or false?
True.
True.
It's true.
Yeah, there you are. Number 6, real estate professionals need to be aware of issues about wetlands, floodplains, and protected species. True or false?
I'm gonna say true.
I say true.
It's true. Yeah.
True.
Number 7, asbestos encapsulation is often a safer and better solution than abatement
Abatement.
Abatement.
or removal. True or false? Abatement or
False.
removal.
False.
False.
It's true. Yeah, because it's the easy way to do it, very cheap, and you will be sure that will not get out of.
It's
from
not
there.
moving, right?
It's not
Oh,
moving. Yeah,
The particles can move once you start cutting it. and
exactly.
taking
Yeah,
it off. So if this
Yeah.
is just putting like a bag around it, and well, it's probably better than a bag.
I just kept focusing on the
Target
word
bag.
abatement.
I should have knew this from HGTV.
So number 8, parents and their only child buy a property together. If one dies, the title will automatically pass to the other owners. How did they take the title? A, joint tenants. B, tenants in severalty. C, tenants by the entirety. D, tenants, seriously, I'm super tired. D, tenants in common.
D.
D.
I'm gonna go with C.
D, C. Danny, which one do you say?
I don't remember this one, but I think it's C.
Is A, joint tenants.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So when it says how did they take the title, I think I know how they take the title, but I can't remember. So is this when and I might be wrong, is this where the other one had to will it to the other person, or is that different? I'm confused. Help me on that.
No, that will go automatically. So that's because they have the right of I want to say it
Survivorship.
exactly. Yeah, that's why it's joint tenants. The joint
Okay.
tenancy is like that can be you and your husband, or can be you and 2 of your friends.
Got
Or
it.
like this case, like the parents and the child, and if one of dies, go straight away to the other 2 survivors. So that's why
Okay.
they joint tenants. So yeah.
So can you tell me the other one again so I can remember where the person has to will it?
The tenant in commons.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But doesn't C also have right of survivorship, or is it because it doesn't say they're married?
I think because
Right.
yeah, I am with you on that. I think because they don't say that they're married, so that's
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that minor beat. I thought
That-
parents means they're married. I guess.
Right.
yeah, but I think and I will put the answers properly when they're in my books they say why is A or why is C. I will copy that and I will send to Jessica that she can share also in the Facebook group. So then you can see why, it's much better. That probably explained to me as a student. So number 9, with tenants in common, the obligation to pay property taxes is A, based on the share of ownership. B, share equally, which is required in this form of ownership. C, the obligation of the owner that survives. D, the responsibility of each individual owner and the owners as a group.
I say A.
A. Yeah, you're
I'm
right,
gonna
Jason. Say.
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
Yes, Cecilia, you are now on. So
Oh, I was gonna say D, but you were saying A as I was saying I was saying D.
No, I was saying, Jason, you are right. Is D. Sorry, that's why I stopped. So yeah, it's the D. It's the responsibility of each individual owner and the owners as a group. That basically is when you are like, as I say, in a townhouse like I am. So you pay your taxes, but also you pay that part of the group. So yeah, so it's easy to remember that way. Number 10, a person who holds a property lease and owns shares of a stock in a corporation that owns the buildings owns A timeshare, B condominium or townhouse, C cooperative.
C.
Correct.
C, yeah, C, well done. Now we are licensed, we pass, so we can apply for the license. There you are. And
Well, that was super good, guys.
We did. So, I mean, as I had that idea and I shared that with Jessica, so what do you think, guys? So, because I think that this idea is that all of us, we can study and move together, because at the end, all of us, we want to be licensed real estate agents, right? And we want to make money for sure. So, if you can bring the feedback of how we can do it, because the idea is that all of us, we come here, we bring some documents to study, we do a test, but also I think that Danny, for instance, shared a lot of tips that was very, very helpful for me. Seriously, I took a lot of notes of what she said. So maybe, Danielle, you need to be here every single Tuesday.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's fine. I was really excited to like find out that you guys were doing this anyway, because I was like, Jessica, you know what we should do? We should like play games and do a study game. So I have some tricks up my sleeve too. I'm thinking that I'll definitely touch base with you, Ramon, and see if like maybe we could do some bingo and just some fun things too, just to keep us all engaged. And
we're gonna have to down
if there's a way we could play Kahoot.
Yeah.
For the testing, if I don't know if someone can figure out the logistics, but Kahoot is another way where we can all like test, and I mean it shows like it's just a fun way of testing basically. I use it with my church kids and stuff.
I've used that before. That's really good.
I'm gonna put my email in the text group, so Danny or whatever, so if you guys want to share with me, and also we can create like to have all our contact details, so that would be great too. So yeah.
Yay, you guys are
those study cheat sheets. Oh, I'm sorry. Has anybody that done the test, like, is any of the material on the cheat sheets also covered? Danielle, I don't know, or somebody else?
Like what do you mean by like the hot?
Like the cheat sheets that like Maria gave me some cheat sheets, and there are like questions and then answers. Did you study those as well, or are those questions also on the test?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that I honestly one, being at meetings was really helpful for me too, just like everyday meetings that the groups have. So anything that like if you see something like that you want to be a part of, definitely, because there are going to be things on the test that like it might not click for you when because like, let's face it, like reading a computer is totally different than having human interaction.
Yes.
Right. So there are things that are just not going to click, and that's normal. Like, that's okay. But having like talking to other agents or hearing another agent talk about something, and you will a ton, like here just randomly in KW, like in a Keller Williams meeting, you'll hear something randomly and you'll be like, oh, I know the answer to that. Or you'll be like, oh, I didn't get that until just now. Definitely just, anything that somebody can give you to help you in that way, like whether it's a cheat sheet or like you have a question about something, ask a few different agents, ask Jessica, ask myself, ask anyone, it'll definitely help you in the long run. What I did personally, so I use, like I said, I use the CE shop, And I printed every single key points section, and then I put it in a binder and then studied that way too. But also, like, I know that in the future in my career, that binder is going to come in handy when I'm like, what was that law that I need to make sure that I don't mess it? So yeah, if you can print things out, the more you can print off from your classes, the more you like can find online. Definitely go to any of the links that your classes tell you to go to and like read and study those. They tell you 30 hours in your course, but it's normally more.
60, like double.
Yes.
Yeah, I am not a good online school taker. It took me a while, like, and it was a struggle. It's been a struggle a little bit. If I'm just being super honest, it was really hard for me to sit down and focus for long periods of time. My biggest advice to you is to know your limits. Like, know who you are as a person. I am like, my attention span is like an hour and a half, like, and then we're good. Like, and then I'm like, I can't read anymore. So what I normally do is I did everything for like an hour and a half, and then I would just go do a chore around the house or go play with my kids or like go play with my dogs or my cats. I have a zoo in my house too, just so you know. So like, I'd go do something, go do dishes, you know, like whatever I needed to do to just kind of take my mind off of it and let it settle. And then also there were just days where I was like, I can't do that. If you have those days, don't force yourself to study because you're not going to remember any of it. Like, really know that, like, take your like hour and a half, your 2 hours, your 3 hours that you can really focus on that information and like get through it. It's not a race. You know what I mean? It's not like what we're trying to do is be the best real estate agents that we possibly can be. And part of the great part of that is that we all signed up with an amazing company that like really supports us. And we have this great group of people that are really supportive, and Jessica is amazing. So like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a race. Just know that if you work hard at it, and you know, like, if you have the questions and you ask them, like, it'll come to you. You'll be amazed at yourself sometimes at what, you know, like something will happen on HGTV and you'll be like, no, you're wrong. Like, I'm screaming at my television all the time. It's crazy.
I agree with you like 100%. Like, I think just going through the online learning, like, I kind of like it a lot in a sense of like that I am a social butterfly and I feel like I could focus more when I'm on the screen. So it's like, but I do have the days where it's like overwhelming in a sense. But I also wanted to share with the group something that's really worked really well for me. I meant is that I use like to tone all the noises because I live in an apartment. So to tune out all the noises from my kids, from everything, the TV, I put in some earplugs. And surprisingly, I noticed that it really works well for me to concentrate because every single noise is like tuned out. So I'm like, you know, whatever's coming in is like sinking in more because I don't have any distractions. So for those who are struggling to like focus, I would recommend just buy some earplugs or get some earplugs and really try it out because it really was like a game changer for me. Like, I noticed when I use them, I like pass, you know, 100% in my unit exams and stuff like that. So it's like I feel confident that more information is kind of like being retained by my.
Yeah. So and I am with Dani 100%, and also with everything that she says. So I try to do the videos in the evening because I am more tired and it's much easier. And then I try to do the read bar on the morning because I'm more awake, you know, and then it's much easier for me to retain what I am reading. And also, English is not my first language, so that it takes me like harder time to read it and to understand sometimes technical word. And also, I come from another culture, so which we sell houses in a different way, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you add those handicap, but I try to enjoy the course as much as I can. But for those who choose Kaplan, so just to let you know, so when you do the Minnesota part, one of the teachers is so boring. So just to let you know, the voice is plain, is bored. So try to be very active while you're doing that because there is a moment that I want to disconnect the video. So just to let you know, so I advise that part. So
Like the PowerPoint kind of part?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is no, the PowerPoint, no, there is another one. There is, I don't want to speak because probably he's a great relator, you know, but at least teaching is not the best, okay? So it's like so boring, which in the national part, there is a couple of moments that they make things much easier and super fun. So yeah.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
How many units do you think is like it makes sense to try to get through a week? Like 2, or like spend a week on, like, I just don't know. Like, am I like moving too slow, or should I be moving a little quicker, or
Honestly, pace yourself to who you are. Like, so one of the first things I did after joining Keller Williams was I read one thing. Well, I listened to an audiobook on one thing because I didn't have really enough mind energy to read anything else. But I went through one thing, which was written by Gary Keller, and one of the things that he said in it was super profound, and it was like that he used to be the type of person that got up super early in the morning and had to be the first person in the office and the last person to leave, but he was like killing himself trying to do it. And he was like, if you're the type of person that functions well in the afternoon, then do things schedule your time in the afternoon. If you're the type of person that does really well in the morning, then schedule your time in the morning. Just know what your limitations are, and how long you can do something, and that it makes your life so much easier. If you focus, so when you're doing it, make sure you're able to actually just focus on that, and then everything else will fall into place. I personally, like I said, I would do about an hour and a half. So even if I wasn't completely finished with a unit, I would stop at an hour and a half, and then I'd get up and go do something for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'd go back and do more. And again, there were days that I was like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't mentally handle this today. And I just wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I would do some self-care, and then I'd be back at it the next day. And there'd be some days that I did 5 hours. There were some days that I did an hour and a half. I will say that so I left my job in June, and I just finished my coursework, and it's November. So like I said, it's not a rush. Take your time and understand what you're doing, because it's gonna make you the best agent possible. I know that it's a struggle right now with COVID for all of us, and it's hard because you can't be around people and stuff like that. But I promise, if you just think of it as an investment in yourself, as opposed to oh my gosh, I have to do this, do all of this reading. Because if you think of it as an investment in yourself and an investment in your future, it's going to change your mindset, and it's going to change how you look at your coursework.
Right.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to share that I took my courses with Kaplan back in 2015, and I still have, that's actually what I'm using right now to review for the exam, is the books. And what is really awesome is they included with the books a reading guide, and it has different paces. Like, if you're trying to tackle it kind of like an online classes, it takes longer. They have you scheduled for weeks on end. But then what I'm actually doing is kind of like a rushed pace where it's on demand. It's like as if I were in the classroom. So the pacing that I'm taking is about 6 hours a day, and it's about 9 or 10 courses throughout the day. And with the the unit exams, I'm using the unit quizzes. So that's what I'm trying to pace, is to, because my pace, I'm trying to get the exams done definitely by the end of this month at the latest. But what I like about Kaplan is they give you the curriculum depending on the pace that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and that's good, Christian, because as I say, I am very happy with Kaplan. So I did the on-demand. So, and also there is every Tuesday and every Thursday they do classes as well from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So there is a WebEx with the teachers over there. So it's quite they're very useful. They don't pay me for that. It's not an advertisement. So I have to say that I'm very happy with them. But about the study, what the people that were saying, so for me, that I manage like 35 people. So and between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, they can call me at any time. So, and I can be studying here at home, and then they call me, it's very distract. So I start to, as I say, I'm an early person. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. I study for an hour and a half in the morning, and then in the evening, I do another 30, 45 minutes. But I try to take easy because I start in August. That's when I met Jessica, right? Jessica was August, more or less. And it's when I start the course, and I'm going to do the license now in December. So, and I wanted to do it by September. I remember I told Jessica, oh yes, I will do that by September. It's going to be very easy. No way. So no time. So yeah, it's like 4 months. I think this is a good time so far.
Yeah, so there's a question Christian had about the SPAR dues. So when you go on, what happens is, and this is super important for all of you to remember, when you go on to SPAR to pay your dues once you're licensed, there are 3 additional voluntary charges that are automatically put on there, and they will not come off unless you unclick the box. And so if you do that, if you don't do that, it's more like 695 or something like that. And the reason that Christian and Wyatt might have said 800 is because if you look at it now, they prorate 2020. So you're paying for November, December, and then all of 2021. However, it'll drop down once you take those things off. So basically what you're paying for is your, it's your association with SPAR, with MAR, and with NAR, which is Minnesota and then national. And so each of them charges like about 185. And then starting next year, all of you can do the what is it called? Like the payment plan. So I do it August, September, October. I pay 185 each month so that I don't get zinged, like in December for, $555 or whatever it is. So, and you can just set that up on a credit card too. So.
Okay. So you can set up a payment plan for the dues. I thought it was all due up front.
Once you are into 2021, you can, because August, September, October, you'll be paying for 2022. However, once that time is passed, now you have to pay it all at once. So.
Sorry, my kid's in the background. Thank you.
Okay. He's having fun.
So, I mean, we can use.
Go ahead.
I was thinking that we can use the Facebook group, and if there is a topic that you would like to discuss next Tuesday, so right over there, and then on Sunday I will start to work on the documents, so then I can send to Lisa by Jessica. Seriously, I'm too tired today. To Jessica, I can send to her by Monday, and then we can prepare the PowerPoint for Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's.
And just as a heads up to you guys, we always have group coaching from 5:30 to 6:30. Any of you can jump on that. It's going to be this same Zoom link and password. So like today we talked with a lender about, it was actually from last week because we didn't get time to finish. And then he's like, starts going, I'm like, you have 5 minutes. And he's like, oh my God. So, but if you want to hop on those, you are welcome to. The thing is that I'm going to talk to Sammy. I think if she can divide this, then it's fine. Otherwise, we all have to get off and then start back on because it starts recording as soon as the first person logs on. So anyway, do you guys have any other questions on anything?
I was wondering if somebody could share with me the phone number to schedule the testing. I want to shoot 2 tests at the end of the month too. I mean, if possible.
Yeah, Danny, you sent it to me. I have it saved in a.
I do via the website, so I'm because 1 second. Let me find the link. So,
Danny, didn't you find that when you called, you got a better response than if you wasn't online?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, call. Call. They'll answer way quicker.
Because what they do is like people will cancel or there'll be an opening and then they see that when the phone, but you think it'd be the opposite. But like online, they don't do that.
Right.
So,
I don't think that they update them.
Yeah.
Like I think it's every 24 hours or something.
So like Ramon, if you wanted to move your test date up, you could.
No, I need to study more. So I don't want to fail. If no. If I will fail, I will be depressed.
Available on Thursday in Egan.
Say that again, Tara.
So there's a test available on Thursday in Egan.
See, Ramon, Thursday.
No. Give me. I need
pressure.
to be the Danny best friend for the next 3 weeks. So it's like I need to be sure. No, I tried to do the phone, but because no one answered, that's why I did online. So yeah, I did online.
Okay, so can somebody put in the chat what that contact information is? I know you asked me for it. That was hilarious. She asked me for it and I was like, here you go. And then she was like, I can't find it. I'm like, oh crap. It's not easy.
I couldn't find anything. It took me forever. No, it's not easy to find, honestly. I was like, I'm done.
It's Department of Commerce. Like, why would you think that for scheduling your real estate license exam? You know,
right.
Yeah.
I think that if I can find it really quick, I'll throw it in the Facebook group. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, you guys are all in it, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Just a second. I just have it here open. So let me see if it's the right
He's
one.
rescheduling the Thursday is what he's doing.
I was checking the days. So no, it's like.
Just razzing you. I'm just kidding.
Hey Jessica, can you confirm that I'm in the Facebook group you're referring to?
Say that again.
Can you confirm if I'm in the Facebook group?
I'm pretty sure you are. Because yes, Melissa like put you in it, and then I like added you. So
okay.
At the top, it's a KW and like a fall scene for the picture.
Okay. Perfect.
I just put the phone number, and then I can. I can put the link also if you want to do it online.
I have a quick question about the recording. So there's a friend of mine that is also going to be part of Maria's team, but he couldn't make it today to the Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
How will the recording be made available?
So that's a good question. So Sammy is our tech guru, and she uploads it to the playlist, the PC playlist, which is through YouTube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up because otherwise I won't remember this. So in our so you guys are in the pre-fellowship, and then the other one is the fellowship. So once you're active and licensed KW, then you go into that one. It's like you graduate, right? And I just made this stuff up this weekend. It was so exciting. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that, and then the thing is it's kind of a work in progress. What's happening is, and I'm gonna put it in here. Okay, so cut and paste that. And basically what happens is you will, I'll show you right here. So this is what, you can see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is how we upload it, right? And then if there's other classes, like Sammy did productivity tools, like this one's really good. This is like how to use Google Suite, right? So my next job is to give her a description so that when we do this, she just puts it in here and it says, you know, oh my gosh, what am I saying? Like it says the study group session and then the date, right? And then for the group coaching, it's going to say, you know, like special group session with the lender, right? So everything will be easier because right now it's just, she just puts it in as group coaching, and then you guys have to be searching for stuff. So, but this is where everything is put. And I don't think that there's any sort of like that it's blocked any, I don't think you have to like join anything. I don't know. So you guys can let me know if that's available. I think it's just public.
No, because I tried to watch a couple of videos and yes, you can see everything that you
Okay.
want. So there
Okay,
is not a,
Perfect. So, so like then if you go back here, like this one, buyer boot camp. So this is one that I did that just goes through everything you'd need to know for a buyer. So my suggestion to anybody when they come in is I want you to focus on your test and passing it, right? After you pass both of the tests, then watch any of this stuff, come into classes. And I know, like Danny mentioned, that it helps to be in on classes as well. I just don't want you guys to get overwhelmed, right? Because that's, and sometimes people get like analysis paralysis, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I have to know all the things. And then I'm like, you're not even licensed. It doesn't even matter, right? So, so that's me being the teacher and saying, do your homework, right? Pass your test. So if you, like for me, I can't take in a whole bunch of knowledge. I just need to limit myself. So, but it's all there for you guys. And then also the calendar that we have, that some of you may have seen. So this is like our monthly calendar for November, and it has all the classes on it. And that is something else that I tell people, if there's something specific that you think might help you on the test and you want to come to it, just let me know. And, I can help you get access to it. So any other questions? I hope not, because I really have to go to the bathroom. I've drank like 3 of these here. You guys, I've been sitting here for 3 hours.
I only have like 5 more questions, Jess. No,
Oh my God. Okay. You're already licensed. You can't ask me.
This was
Thank
awesome.
you
Thanks.
guys,
We'll see you next
everybody.
week.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Where's my button?
Oh, fucking long.